Well, hello everybody! Welcome back to GBear's Off-Grid Ways, Homestead in the Desert. We're in the Garden of Eating. And the reason I'm in here is basically because I'm going to grab a couple of these cabbage leaves and get them out to the chickens, because that's their little treat for the day. This cabbage is the same cabbage that I have had growing since the beginning of the year, and I've already plucked heads of cabbage off, and I just keep letting them grow. Now that one I cut right off down to the stem, laid the stem down in the soil, and it's bringing up a new plant, a couple of new plants. So I'll get a couple more heads off of that if they can set before the freeze comes. So anyway, these all got heads starting on them, inside of them. And what I do is I just take off some of these outside leaves here, because they're actually good to eat. But you can see how the insects get to the outside leaves. So I bring these over to the chickens and give them a treat every now and then. And it gives a little bit more energy to the plant, so that it can bring up bigger heads. That's my watermelon over there, and it's starting to do its thing. It's that time of year. Pretty much all the peaches are gone, and they are delicious. I've got a couple more on there. I'm out of hands, so I can't enjoy any of those right now. Tomatoes, I've been giving them away. I got a bunch of them drying up over there. I just went through and gave a quick spot water in here, but I got to come back and do some pruning, get the dead leaves off of these plants. I got extra branches growing on the tomato plants that I don't need. Usually try to keep the two main stalks, and I've got some of them with 5 and 6. And that Roma over there, this grow house is 8 foot tall, and that thing is trying to get out the top. Same thing with my grapevines. Grapes over there are delicious. I've been eating those, sharing them with my neighbors. So, all right, so let's head out of here. I hope the wind doesn't drown me out too bad as I'm walking. I just wanted to make sure I got some video in today. Looks like I got another anthill here. I'm going to have to bring some soapy water down and pour it down there. I did that to the one over by the chicken house door, and no more ants over there. So, got one here too. That looks like that one's going to have to get treated. Boy, the ants this year have been just ridiculous. They're everywhere. Hey kids, where is everybody? Y'all want some greens? Is that what it is? You come right over here to the greens, don't you? Excuse me while I open this gate. All right, everybody, who wants the greens? All right, so I got the greens in there, and the chickens go crazy for them. Every now and then I'll throw a half-rotten tomato in there, and Blackie the rooster over there, he grabs a hold of that thing, runs into the other cage with it, so nobody else will get any. And just hangs in there and eats the whole tomato. Yeah, I put some melted ice water in their wading pool today, so they were in there and standing in the cold water and cooling down. It was a hot one today. I think I saw 108 on the thermometer. Of course, yesterday was a little bit warmer, but this heat wave is supposed to go on until somewhere around Thursday or Friday, and I'm going to try to shield the wind here a little bit if I can, because I know that's drowning me out. I didn't wear my microphone because it wasn't windy when I went down to the garden house, but it is now. All right, so the next thing is that big plume over there over the top of the mountain. That is 76 miles from here. And it's a really nasty fire. Last I heard a couple hours ago was it's 0% contained. It's been going for 2 days now. I remember seeing it yesterday, and yeah, it's really billowing up. So, and the wind won't blow it towards me because the winds are going that way. But, you know, 76 miles away, there's going to be a lot of inland areas. But believe it or not, even though with the wind blowing the way it is, I can smell that fire from here. It's amazing. Just amazing. All right. So, I was going to show you that one thing I did here is that, remember that hat and coat rack I found in the desert? Well, it works out great here on the tote-cuzzi for a place to hang the towel and the shorts and t-shirts and things like that. This is the top that I cut off. Now these boards are just temporary. This is just scrap I had. I'll be using redwood for a nicer frame when I'm done. And then this will actually fit right on top of the framework that I build on top of my tote-cuzzi. But right now I put it in upside down because I've got that rubber on there, and it's kind of like squeezes down in there nice and tight. The wind can't blow it off. As you can see, it doesn't even move, and it keeps the bugs out at night. So nice little unit. So I was going to do an episode and close off today's video with GBear in the jacuzzi, or in the tote-cuzzi as I should say. Let's see if I can get that off one-handed. Of course it would hook on there. It could have hooked anywhere, but no. It's going to hook right on there. There we go. Okay, so trying to do this one-handed and hold the camera at the same time. And I've got to get my filter put together for here because I pick up a little bit of debris, just stuff that blows up against me, and then when I get in there, it goes into the water. But I'm going to get my my filter assembled pretty soon. It's just been so hot. I spend a lot of time sitting in this thing. And then I was just going to say was I was going to do a video today with a little bit of a tease saying GBear in the tote-cuzzi wearing nothing but a bandaid and a smiley face. All right, so well, this is what you would have seen. Me sitting in the chair, you would have seen my feet at the other end. You would have seen my bandaid. And my smiley face. What a wise guy, huh? All right, everybody. That's about all I have for today. Like I said, it's been really, really hot. And I just don't feel like doing anything when it's that hot. And that fire has got me keeping my eyes out because there's been a few fires reported in the past couple of weeks. And most of the time, the news ends up saying of suspicious nature. So I don't know what it is, what it's all about. I just don't like it. And if they do catch somebody setting these fires, don't waste our time and our money and running them through the courts or anything. Put them against the wall and waste a couple of 35-cent bullets. And that's about it. All right. So here we are in the battery room, and yeah, you can see the 106, 90. That's the one thing about turbines. Yeah, they make electricity when the wind blows, but you just don't get enough electricity out of them. Like I'm getting, with these winds blowing right now, I'm getting anywhere from 50 to 170 watts. You know what? For the price I paid for that turbine, I could have got 4 or 5, I could have got 6 more 100 watt panels with all of the money I spent for the turbine, the mast, the wiring, the cables, the guy wires. You know what? So the turbine makes electricity at night, but the winds usually lie down at night, so I'm only making a couple of watts. That's not even enough to keep the refrigerator running. Unless you're in a windy area, it's just not worth going with wind power. That's just my the way I figured it out here the hard way. I went to the school of hard knocks here and learned that, you know, there are some things that work great, some things that don't. And what I would do if I had to do it all different was get rid of all these batteries. I would have started with 2 forklift batteries, a couple of $1,000s each. But if you add all of this up now, these batteries go for about $160 a piece plus tax. And if you don't have one to trade in, you're going to pay a core charge on it. So that's what I would do. Is I would go with a couple of heavy-duty forklift batteries, total major amp outers. 2 of them would just barely fit in this room, and I would have got a nice expensive MPPT single controller instead of having a bunch of controllers. And I could get rid of the dump load controller because I wouldn't need the wind turbine. You know, I could put a turbine on there and just leave it there just for the heck of it. But you got to remember, there's maintenance on those things and there's expenses that you have to pay. Just not worth it. I'm not seeing a real good production of it. And the turbine makers actually are fooling people into thinking they're going to get more than what they got. I got one guy or a group or one guy, I don't know if it is, from India, who bought a 400 watt turbine, Chinese turbine. And just like me, when I first got my first turbine, I thought, oh, the wind's blowing, I'm getting 400 watts. No, you're not. Did I learn that out the hard way? The amount of wattage, I've said this before, I'll say it again for you newcomers, the amount of wattage that they claim a turbine makes is its maximum output at the maximum wind speed that turbine will tolerate. So when you look on that thing and it says good for winds up to 60 miles per hour, 400 watts max output, you got to get 50-mile-an-hour winds constant to put out 400 watts constant. The minute the wind slows down, that voltage drops, or that wattage drops exponentially. I mean, it goes down very quickly. So like right now, I'm probably getting 10, 12, maybe 14-mile-an-hour gusts here, and I'm only making 100 and something watts on a 1685 watt PMA. You see it up there turning? When you hear that little hum, that means it's down around 8 miles per hour. When the hum gets really loud, it's at 7 miles per hour, and it's not putting anything out. So, yeah, it starts putting out electricity at 8 miles per hour, but it's only putting out a few watts. You know, 10, 12 watts. It's nothing. So, those of you thinking about going for wind power, unless you're going to put a bunch of those things up, and I'm not even sure that there's some that they're advertising now on eBay. I'm looking at them, they're 8,000 watt maximum, or what they're saying. You know what? I'm not trusting them. I bought a Chinese MPPT controller. Actually, I bought 2 of them that turned out to be not. They were PMAs, and they were not MPPTs, and they were cheapos. And one of them's still working, the other one's not. So that's what you get when you deal with the Chinese cheap stuff. So I will be correcting my electrical system here down the line as money allows. I'm going to switch the whole thing over. I'm going to go to a higher voltage. The reason I stayed with 12 volts was because I figured with 12 volts, if I had an emergency, I could just pull the van over there, throw a set of jumper cables onto the battery bank, and run the van for the night if I had to, and keep a charge in the battery and keep everything running and all that stuff. But come to find out, that's not the way to go, and live and learn. So I will, down the line, correct that situation, and I'll show you what I've done, and I'll explain to you why, how, and when. This is GBear reminding you, don't forget to give me a thumbs up down there. And please subscribe. I need subscribers. Looking for that 5,000 mark. That'll really put me where I want to be. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for joining me. GBear signing off.